thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful...
A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends.
Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Well, there was dirty work at the crossroads last time as Boris and Natasha tried to blow up our heroes. Unfortunately for them, they were caught by a runaway car and wound up blowing themselves up instead. Of course, our boys still aren't out of the woods. Cactus.
Rock, I can't go on.
Bullwinkle, speak to me, speak to me. Why won't you speak to me?
I can't think of a thing to say.
Gee, I gotta get him out of this sun.
And the plucky squirrel seized his friend by the ankles and began to drag him bodily across the desert floor.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. If it's all the same to you, Rock, I'll walk.
But Bullwinkle, you're too weak to walk.
Yeah, but I'd rather die of the staggers than get needled to death.
Good show, Bullwinkle.
And our friends pushed onward while the blazing sun beat down with furnace heat. A short distance away, Boris and Natasha were pulling themselves out of the debris of the explosion.
Well, your plan was a washout, Boris.
Duh, I think I cancel my subscription to the fiendish Plain of the Mont Club.
But they're getting away with deed to mine, darling. What can we do?
Oh, you forget I am vice president in crime syndicate.
So what you're going to do?
What any big executive would do. I pass the buck. Hello, fearless leader. Come in, please.
And Boris's voice crackled across the miles to a sinister hideout where his superior eagerly awaited his report.
Hello, hello.
Fearless leader. Is Boris bad enough on the air, sir?
Oh, no. That no good, no good.
Hello, fearless leader.
Don't tell me you didn't get deed to mine.
Lie.
You didn't rub out moose and squirrel. You
Lie.
just got caught in one of your own traps.
How did you...
Enough, bad enough. Either get results soon or join our most exclusive society.
Yeah? What's that?
Ex-Vice President's Club.
What he say, darling?
He passed buck right back to me.
Meanwhile, our heroes were just about at the end of their tether.
Courage, Bullwinkle. Just a little bit farther.
But I'm so thirsty. Feels like my mouth is full of lint.
If we just had some water.
Water. I'd give anything I got for a drink of water. My money, my house, even the deed to Uncle Dewlap's mine.
Water boy. Where was I hiding?
Hokey Smoke, who are you?
Allow me to introduce myself, Sahib. Gonga Drain, professional Indian-type water boy.
Well, how much is your water?
Oh, got all prices. You buy by the drop, sip, swig, or gulp.
How much for a king-size guzzle?
Oh, for that it costs one deed to mine.
Sounds great.
Will you drink it here or take it home?
Well,
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Drain.
Just call me Gonga.
How did you know we had a deed to a mine?
Well,
I don't think you ought to do it, Bullwinkle. Anyway, those prices seem awful high.
But I got big overhead.
No, some other time, maybe.
Yeah, see us next time we're dying of thirst.
Well, to show there is no hard feeling, I give you free of charge Gunga Drain souvenir.
Souvenir? What is it?
This delightful little pet you should wear on your lapel. Changes color when you put it on things.
Oh, yeah, I hear to them. They're called camellias.
Chameleons, Bullwinkle.
Yeah, cute little fellers, aren't they?
But they really weren't chameleons at all, but deadly, poisonous scorpions. Well, will these little stingers do Boris's dirty work for him? Be with us next time for Death in the Desert or A Place in the Sun.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the...
Hi, Dad. Well, where you going?
Baseball park, son.
Gonna see a game?
No, I'm donating this bag to the team. Seems that during the game yesterday, some scallywag stole second base and...
Pop, you don't understand.
Disgraceful act.
But, Dad, when a player steals second...
I also thought I'd hang this out in the bleachers. Honesty is the best policy. You like it?
Oh, it's keen, Dad. But about second base...
Speaking of honesty is the best policy, have I ever related the fable of the frogs and the beaver?
You see, Dad, a man on first is allowed to run to second when he...
Once upon a time, there was a lake. Now, this lake was set so deep in the forest that it was virtually uninhabited, which meant that no one lived there. Well, practically no one. For you see, a beaver had come across this lovely spot and built a resort home right on the shore. Now, our fable could have ended right there, and everything would have been lovey-dovey, if it weren't for two frogs that happened to come along. Their names, Romeo and Julius.
That is what I call gracious living.
Gracious, yes.
How comes that beavers has always got the easy life?
Yeah. Why do us frogs always have to live on a lily pad?
Julius, if that is your name, let us take this home away from yon beaver.
Romeo had a plan. It was both ingenious and colorful.
Hey, Romeo, what's the big idea?
You are sick. That's right, Beaver. My friend here is in dire distress.
Got a frog in my throat.
No, you have not. You got the pox.
Chicken pox?
Frog pox.
And with that, Julius went into a frenzied exhibition of a frog with the 7-year itch. Of course, the unsuspecting beaver was scared out of his wits, not to mention the house. Well, sir, inside of 1 week, the once charming little retreat was turned into a shambles.
Now, the runner on first has to keep his eye on the catcher, Dad.
That little beaver, though, was as industrious as they come. He got as far away from the frogs as he could and erected a small but comfortable cabin. However, the cabin wasn't far enough away from those frogs.
That is what I call rustic living.
Gracious, yes. I mean rustic, yes.
I like this place much better than the joint we're in now.
Once more, the clever frog launched a plan.
That frog, he's busting my pipe.
That beaver happens to be the famous forest ranger, Smokey the Frog. He's just putting a fire out.
Oh, my goodness. I suppose he'll want to confiscate my matches, too, huh?
Oh, you should never say the word matches. It sends Smokey into a veritable rage. Makes him mad, too.
The beaver took off again, leaving the frogs his second place.
Did you say second base?
Second place. This time, it took the frogs only 3 days to demolish their new abode. And although 3 days isn't much time, it was all the beaver required to construct a rambling hacienda right beside a roaring river.
Now, that's what I call hacienda living. Hey, ain't you gonna say hacienda, yes?
I can't speak Spanish.
Oh. Well, seeing as how our present premises is a shambles, let us swindle our way into this place.
You have to give the frog credit. He had an unlimited supply of plans. But so did the beaver.
Now, look, I put the fire out, and I've given myself a case of frog pox, so it's no use trying to intimidate me any further.
Oh, we wouldn't intimidate you for the world, Beaver.
Besides, I didn't build this house for myself.
Who did you build it for?
You.
The frogs were shocked, but not so shocked that they didn't move in and make themselves at home. As for the beaver, this was all part of a cunning scheme in which he'd be free of the frogs once and for all, because, you see, haciendas are made of dry mud. And You know what happens to dry mud when it's hit by rain. It becomes wet mud. Yes, sir. Inside of Nothing Flat, that hacienda slid into the roaring river. And as for the frogs inside it, they were carried off by the current, never to be seen again. At least not on this show. And that's why I always say honesty is the best policy.
You could also say grime does not pay.
Yeah, I could, but I won't. Well, bye-bye, son. I've got to deliver this second base.
Well, there goes Pop. Generous as they come. Oh, my gosh. I just happened to think. Supposing there's a game today and somebody steals home.
That's a pretty strange-looking painting, Bullwinkle.
I just paint what I see.
Well, what do you see?
This is what I see.
For all of you who want to become tigers in the field of journalism, here is Mr. Know-It-All.
Hello, copycats. Today's subject is how to be a star reporter.
In order to be star reporter, you got to bring back scoop.
You can count on me, Chief.
Here is hot scoop. Cover big boat fire at Pier 12.
Are you sure there's a boat on fire, Chief?
Positive. I lit it this morning on my way to the office.
Running up the gangplank of the burning boat, you rush down into the hold, where you find the fire burning merrily. This will be the hottest story of the year. Grabbing a nearby can of water, spelled G-A-S, you dash it into the flames and await results. Hello, Chief. About that fire.
Got another scoop for you. Rush over to zoo. His 2-day-old tiger cub smoking cigar.
Are you sure there's a 2-day-old tiger cub smoking a cigar?
Positive. I lit it this morning on my way to the office.
Dashing to the zoo, you rush into the cage, clearly marked Tiger. E-L-E-P-H-A-N-T, Tiger. Once inside, you proceed to spank the 2-day-old tiger, which weighs 40 tons and is smoking the longest cigar you have ever seen. Hello, Chief. About that 2-day-old tiger.
Never mind that. Come back to office. Is man about to jump off roof?
Are you sure, Chief?
I ought to be. It's me.
At last you are to get your scoop.
And did you get your scoop, Mr. Know-It-All?
I certainly did. I stopped off at an ice cream parlor and got 2 of them. See? Tutti Frutti and Pistachio.
Hello there, Peabody here, and that's my boy Sherman over by the Wayback Machine.
The Wayback's all warmed up, Mr. Peabody.
Excellent, Sherman. Then set the indicator for the year 1180.
1180 it is.
Our target for today will be Nottinghamshire, England, and in particular Sherwood Forest, where we'll come face to face with that legendary rogue, Robin Hood. Before we knew it, Sherman and I were beside Robin Hood's band of outlaws. They were known as merry men, but at that moment they were anything but merry.
To think he'd do this to us, Little John.
Aye, Friar Tuck. Taking our valuables is one thing, but our clothes...
Forgive the intrusion, gentlemen, but it sounds as though you've been robbed.
We have.
That's terrible. Where's Robin Hood?
He went that-a-way.
To apprehend the culprit.
He is the culprit.
Before we could voice our astonishment, the bushes parted and out stepped Robin. I could tell something was wrong by the way he held his bow and arrow.
I am Robin Hood, and I've come to rob you.
He stretched the arrow taut and sent the bow flying into the air.
Surrender your valuables if you value your life.
But, Robin, you just finished robbing us.
I did. Are you sure it was me?
What's this all about, Mr. Peabody?
I'm afraid Robin isn't himself.
It's his head. You see that bump on it? He ran into a falling rock, changed him completely.
Well, tally-ho. I'm off to Nottingham to play chess with Prince John.
So saying, Robin dashed for his horse. However, his judgment was sadly lacking. Instead of leaping on the animal's back, he leaped into a nearby creek.
Poor Robin.
After hanging his beloved leader out to dry, Friar Tuck unfolded a tragic tale.
This is our monthly business chart. Robin had the accident on the 8th, and you can see how our robberies have fallen off since then. And the holidays are coming up, too.
The situation wasn't bad enough. Maid Marian arrived with more trouble.
Where's Robin? I must talk to him.
What's up?
The Sheriff of Nottingham's dander. Look!
According to the proclamation, the wily sheriff was challenging Robin to an archery contest.
And if Robin loses, Prince John will cut off England's supply of clippers.
Can you hear me, Prince John?
I hear you, Sheriff.
Good. Now remember, when I shoot, you pick up the target and guide it so that I score nothing but bullseyes.
A brilliant plan, Sheriff.
Yes, isn't it?
The following day, all of Nottinghamshire turned out for the tournament, including Robin and his dejected band of outlaws.
You must win, Robin, you must.
I don't want to win. I want to rob the poor and give to the rich.
Goodbye, kippers.
Most of the spectators were focusing their attention on Robin. I concentrated on the Sheriff of Nottingham, who was engaged in some pre-tournament practice.
Look at that, Mr. Peabody. A bullseye every time.
I smell foul play, Sherman. No one's that good. Except me. My suspicions were confirmed, for the sheriff's next shot was so erratic, the target had a difficult time converting it into a bullseye.
The tournament will now begin. The Sheriff of Nottingham will shoot first.
Just one moment, please. Sherman, show the folks how you can stand on your head.
If you say so, Mr. Peabody.
While Sherman diverted the crowd's attention, I made my way to a nearby tree, borrowed a beehive hanging from its branches, and casually inserted it inside the highly talented target.
That little boy stands on his head beautifully, but can't we get on with the tournament?
By all means. All right, Sherman. Up, boy. Up, up, up. Oozing confidence, the sheriff prepared to take his first shot.
Watch this. A bullseye every time.
It might have been, too, except that the target behaved in a violent fashion and began dashing all over the place. Needless to say, the tournament was called off. As for Robin Hood, he had the good fortune to walk into a ditch, resulting in the restoration of his normal senses.
And they said it couldn't be done.
Prince John, on the other hand, was having a difficult time getting free of the beehive.
It serves him right, doesn't it, Mr. Peabody?
It certainly does, Sherman. By the way, how does it feel to witness his execution?
Execution? According to history books, Prince John wasn't executed.
No. He looks beheaded to me.
Well, on their way to Mount Flatten, where Bullwinkle's uncle had left him a mine, our heroes have run into a serious water shortage. But when Boris disguised himself as Gunga Drain, an Indian water peddler, Rocky turned him down.
Yeah, it isn't as if we're dying of thirst.
'Cause we are.
It was then that Boris offered them 2 free souvenirs that he said were chameleons.
I don't believe it. These animals have claws.
That's because they're desert chameleons. They use the claws to walk through sand.
I still don't believe it.
You don't believe in sandy claws?
That's pretty serious, Rock.
No telling what would have happened to Bullwinkle's faith in Rocky if one of the little beasts hadn't suddenly flipped his tail up and stung a nearby cactus.
What did I tell you, Bullwinkle?
What a way to die.
Chameleons, huh? These are scorpions.
Well, after all, what is a scorpion? Just a chameleon with a little kick to it.
Come on, Bullwinkle.
And the 2 boys started off across the desert again.
What's the matter, darling? Trick didn't work?
I was so sure they would trade deed to mine for water.
You were really going to give them water, Boris.
Of course, Natasha. This water, all they could drink, see?
And as Boris poured a little of the clear liquid into a cup, the cup dissolved.
His little invention of my own for reducing.
Reducing?
Gets rid of ugly fat. People.
Deeper into the blazing desert, our heroes staggered. Little did they know that high above them in an air-conditioned helicopter, a mysterious figure was watching them. Suddenly, the helicopter began to descend toward our heroes. Meanwhile, 1,000 feet below...
Did you ever get the funny feeling that you were being followed, Bullwinkle?
Yeah, and we are. Get out of here, you buzzards.
But just then, a shadow fell over our friend.
Must be a cloud in the... Hey!
A cloud in the hay? The heat's getting you, Rock.
No, look!
Yes, the helicopter had swooped low and was hovering right over our friends' heads.
Gee, do you suppose we're going to be rescued at last?
Sure, he'll let down the ladder soon.
Hey, look out!
Great mounds of moss!
Yes, the helicopter was behaving in a very peculiar manner.
Either he's a terrible pilot or he's out to get us.
Nobody's that bad a pilot.
He's trying to squash us like a couple of bugs.
Stop, Bullwinkle!
Too late. Down came the aircraft on Bullwinkle's head. And when it rose again, Bullwinkle went with it.
Bullwinkle, let go!
I can't! My antlers are stuck!
Your what?
My antlers! I can't get them loose!
And the strange craft with a moose dangling from it went bounding over the countryside, much to the wild surprise of two nearby Indian chiefs.
Some sight, eh, Chauncey?
You talk straight, Edward.
What you think it is?
One of two things.
What two things?
Plane with crazy landing gear.
Or?
Moose with crazy head.
Oh, Chauncey, you funny Indian.
Funny Indian?
Yes. Navajo ho ho.
But it wasn't funny at all to Rocky.
I gotta try to get Bullwinkle out of there.
So the next time the moose touched ground, Rocky grabbed his leg and tried to pull him out. He didn't succeed.
Hokey smoke, I'm up in the air.
I'm not too calm myself.
And the helicopter continued on its erratic up and down course over the desert. How long can our heroes take this terrible pounding? Don't fail to see our next episode, The Boy Bounders, or Plain Punchy.
Well, it looks as if our time is just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop!
We're late again, Bullwinkle.
Right.
Bye now. See you next time.